Good morning. Join me as I go into Deuteronomy chapter 12. It's doing a lot of rain in here. Last night we didn't have lights, so I had something that I can thank God for. That lights is something that it's just things that, not that was an excuse for me to be coming a little later, but I came a little later because I wanted to take my time this morning. And I'm going into Deuteronomy chapter 12. Father, I thank you this morning that everybody that's coming in this morning, that you would give us crystal clear hearing of what you said according to your word, that your voice will be heard, and we will pay attention, not only pay attention, but we will have the heart pliable enough so we can go out and execute, mean to do it. Thank you for forgiving us of our sins, and thank you for giving us a revelation of everything that we need to know so we could be better stewards over what you have assigned us to be over. And thank you that you will not only you have forgiven us of our sins, you have given us the right to forgive others that have wronged us. Lord, be God over this session, and thank you for me just hungry to know what's in chapter 12, because the day I get a chance to eat was in chapter 13. And every day, I look forward to learning something else about my Father. I stay in one chapter, and this is how I do it. When I leave today, I do what I have to do today. I'll get into chapter 13. I'll read it, and I'll study it, and I'll watch other people teach it, and then I'll read it again, then I'll look up anything that I need to see whether or not I'm getting the right understanding, because it's important to me as a teacher that I don't just say things, because that's what had happened to me. Somebody just said something, and I just want to know exactly how God meant it. And did he say it the way I'm saying it? I'm trying to see if I see my glasses. I think I do. Looking for my glasses, so in case I need them. All right. Deuteronomy chapter 12. Lord, let this word one day. I am so prepared. When Jesus come back for that 1,000 years, and he said, I need somebody that studied my word, I sure would love to be a part of his plan, even now. But in case he just say, I need somebody to actually know what I said, that paid attention to my word. All right, I'm going to have to put these glasses on because I see better. I don't know why, but outside I look like I can see a bit better, but inside it's kind of dark. All right, Deuteronomy chapter 12. God has given his word to Moses to tell the people right outside, and it's something so interesting today that if we don't know these things, it's not going to be that we're going to get by. God is like, I was telling somebody this morning, I said, God is going to, if he gives, let's say if God gives you a receipt, that means you weighed in the balance. That means that what you owe something. Now, if God said, I know how much hair you got on your head, I know every strand on your head, then that means that who else counts hair? Who else what other God says, I know how many strands of hair you got on your head? Because you comb, some fall out, and some grows, and then you got the little edges around here, and you got the little kitchen back here, and you got all that. Who else would say that I know the hairs on your head? What other God would do that? Nobody. So if God is saying, I know how much hair you got on your head and how many strands you have, don't you know that he watches me every time I speak a word? Because people, they can count your words if they tape it. That's what she said, this many words. How many receipts you took back to Walmart, and how many times you kept that thing longer than you were supposed to keep it in. He knows how many lies. People know how many lies. If they know you're a lie, they say you tell a lot of lies. They may not count them. But God has said that if my word has some information in it, that I don't want you to think because, let's say this right here, just because it's in fine print, don't mean I didn't mean for you to read it. Just because it's in Deuteronomy don't mean that I didn't mean for you to read it. You know how we buy stuff, we just want the label, we just want the top part, or we don't want the bottom. We don't read all them instructions. But this is what Moses is giving today is very clear, and let's see what he said in Deuteronomy chapter 12 so we can get our behaviors under control. He says, these are the statutes and judgments. These are the statutes and judgment. And I've been kind of like trying to understand these difference between judgment, statutes, commandments, and decrees, all of the commands. But day by day, God has been bringing it down to him. So statute is, like I took something back to the store the other day. Once I found out that store said you can't bring it back like that, that became a statute to me. That became something that I know I can't do anymore because it violates the integrity of the word of God in me. To take something back to the store after the days of purchase. So that means that when I go shopping, the statute is, I created a statute to know that I can't bring that back to the store because it's not in the frame or the parameter or the guidelines or the, in other words, you kept it too many days and you can't bring it back. That's a statute for me now. I got little bit of things that, another statute for me that I've been practicing is not to say anything that not to make a vow or to say I'm going to do something and then I don't follow through. Like last night, I said I didn't go walking because it rained so much yesterday. And then so I said, okay, I'm gonna take my walk time and I'm just going to stay busy nonstop in my house. I ain't feel like doing that. But because I said it and I don't want to say anything I'm not going to follow through on, I got up and did it. And guess what? I did it. I moved much longer. So God is saying, just don't say anything that you're not going to carry out. Don't tell people that you're going to be there at 7:30 and you don't consider that it's more than you involved. You got other people waiting on you. So if you say you are going to do something, represent me, go show up on time. Anyway, that's what I'm learning, about these statutes, things I'm putting in place that I won't move because my word's spoken. These are the statutes and judgments. These are the things that I am going to, that have some consequences behind it. These are the statutes and judgments which you shall observe to do in the land. So we're talking about, we're coming into a new place. We're coming into a new life. We're coming into a new establishment. And Moses is saying, these are the statutes and judgments you shall observe to do in the land, which the Lord God of your fathers gave or give you to possess it all the days that you live upon the earth. So because of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, those are your fathers. And because I promised them, I'm going to give you these things to do, and you got to observe them for the rest of your life, all while you living on this earth. He said, now check this out, verse 2. All right. Now, where's Moses going with it? He's shaping the way we're going to worship God. This is what this chapter is saying. He talked about, and yesterday we talked about when you teach your children. He said, I didn't tell the Sunday school to be responsible, the church to be responsible for your children. He said, I said, when they get up out of bed, when you go to bed, when you walk along the way, you say what the word says. You say it. I hold the house that had those children to be responsible for what I said in my word. We got to redefine that. Because we've been waiting on somebody else to teach him. He need a Sunday school teacher. No, God said, I'm going to hold you. You had him. According to what we learned in Deuteronomy 11, when they get up, who else go to bed? Who else in the house with your children at that time of night? You. When you walk along the way, he said, just about your day, tell your children what I said. I'm holding you responsible for that. So that means that you need to be, you need to know that you got a job to do. Verse 2, you shall, once you get to Canaan, You shall utterly. That means don't leave not one. I mean, destroy it until it goes back down to the compound of what it was. Just destroy it. Even if you got to burn it. Ye shall utterly destroy all the places wherein the nations which you shall possess serve their gods, upon the high mountains and upon the hills and under every green tree. He said, I want you to go in there and tear those shrines and cathedrals and churches and altars and places of worship, what they call their God. He said, I want it, what's the word, annihilated. I want it destroyed. I don't want nothing that represent your old way of thinking, because you're in a new land, and you are brand new people possessing the land, and it's my land. And I don't care if that building is look like a cathedral, got chandeliers on the wall. People come from all over flying in to look at it and say, this is what we do here, and this is how we do it here. And ooh, that's in the magazine. Did you see that on CNN? I've been in that. Ooh, that's CNN. Ooh, I saw that bit in there. I took a picture of it. I posed right. Oh, I got a picture. He said, I want you to go in and utterly destroy it. That means that when I come in you, no matter what you've been taught, destroy it. And let the word that I'm getting ready to put inside of you be the only thing that's brand new. Behold, all things are new. Don't keep no magazine of it. If you got a book on your shelf that don't lie, even in your own house, if you got some books in your house that somebody wrote, and you found out that they were lacking the wisdom of God, he said, destroy them books. Get them books out of your house. Don't just have don't have a phony place when other people come over that you just say, well, I got so many books. He said, you don't read them. And then some books in there don't line up with my word. Get them books. I mean, I'm telling you what he said, destroy. And then verse 3, and you shall overthrow their altars and break their pillars and burn their groves with fire. And you shall cut down the graven images of their gods and destroy the names on them out of that place. He said, anything that they look like they had. You know, a lot of times God has said, now I'm telling you what to do. He said, now, if I tell you not to marry somebody, trust that you can trust me. I know more about that person than you could imagine. I don't even have time to tell you the list of sins they got on the receipt. Just trust what I say. Go in there and tear down everything, every graven, even the yard that they drove in the parking lot, tear it down. Cut it down, every graven image, all the pictures that they got, the way we do it today. We turn God's place into a celebrity house for the pastor and his wife. And you just walk in there, you see great big old pictures of them. And I God said, I'm just saying, is it about us or is it about him? But anyway, they were going into this place in Canaan, and Canaan had done some low down things. And God said, I don't want nothing. He's going to go in there trying to change the name of their church. He said, I didn't tell you to go in there and tell me, oh, it's just too pretty to tear down. He said, I said, tear it down. I said, you're not going up in there. I don't want nothing that they got. He said, you shall not do so unto the Lord your God. But did I skip some? He said, you shall not do so unto the Lord your God. Now, my stuff, let me tell you how I want mine. But unto the place which the Lord your God shall choose out of all your tribes to put his name there, even unto his habitation shall ye seek, and there you shall come. He said, don't put my name on that. Tear them churches down. Tear them altars down. Tear them places down. And where you see my name, that's where you seek me, you'll see my name there. And there you shall bring your burnt offerings. He said, in my house, you're going to bring your burnt offerings, your sacrifice, your tithes, and heave offerings of your hand, and your vows, and your free will offerings, and the firstling of your herds, and all your flocks. All the things that I told Moses to tell you, and when it's time to bring offering, he said, that's where you're going to bring this. You're going to a new land. I'm not going to dwell in no other place. I'm going to put my name on what I want my name on. And that's where you'll know where to meet me at. And there you shall eat before the Lord your God. And you shall and there you shall eat before the Lord your God, and ye shall rejoice in all that you put your hand unto. In other words, you got your cattle, you got your beans, your fruit, everything that you brought to the Lord. He said you're going to bring it, and you're going to burn it, and you're going to celebrate it by eating, you and your household where the Lord your God has blessed you. All your fruit and everything that you bring, and you celebrate, and we share with the Levites, and you give it some to the priest. He said, that's where I want you to come. I'm just letting you know how I want to do it, what I want to do. You shall not do you shall not do all the things. He said, you shall not do after all the things that we do here this day. Every man whatsoever is right in his own eyes. He said, we finna cut these denominations out. We're going to get this segregation out of here. He said, you don't do that because it's in your own eyes. That's how you see things. He said, but we're not taking it over there to Canaan. You understand that? We're not going to have all these separate places. No, it's a lot of us. And all our way, the way we do it now, y'all kind of just, I see y'all. But he said, well, when we get over here, we ain't going to do it like that because God's not going to have it like that. Do you think God going to call all the Baptist churches and all the Methodist churches and all the churches that the Church of God, the Church of Christ, the Church of God in Christ, the Buddhists, the Muslims? He said, you think that I'm going to call all it? I don't want to get off into all the different religions because there's a lot of them. I know it's more than I know. They said several, might be the thousands of thousands. He said, you think I'm going to separate y'all like that? Mm-mm. He said, you shall not do after all the things that we do here this day. Every man whatsoever is right in his own eye. I don't see it like you. That's not the way I see it. God said, it's not. Don't bring that over, Jordan. Well, Moses said, for you are not as yet come to the rest and to the inheritance which the Lord your God gives you. But when you do go over Jordan and dwell in the land which the Lord your God gives you to inherit, and when he gives you rest from all your enemies round about, so that you dwell in safety, then there shall be a place which the Lord your God shall choose to cause his name to dwell there. There shall you bring all that I command you, your burnt offerings and your sacrifice, your tithes and the heave offering of your own hand, and of your choice vows which you vow unto the Lord. He said, you're going to bring what I said, you're going to bring what you vowed to me you were going to bring, and you're going to bring what you freely want to give. And that's how I'm going to do it in my house. And you shall rejoice before the Lord your God. You, who going to be rejoicing with you? You, your sons and your daughters, and your men servants and your maid servants, and the Levites that is within your gates, because you're going to have Levites just kind of sporadically in the area that you live in. For as much as he has no part, no inheritance with you, he may not be related to you as far as being a part of the inheritance. Well, he related because all y'all cousins. He said, but the Levites going to be in there with you, and you all going to bring your offering. We're going to celebrate. He said, I'm going to have your sons, your daughters, your men servants. That means you got folk working for you, and your maid servants, and the Levites that is within your gates. For as much as he has no part, no inheritance with you, even though he doesn't have, all the thing that you do, you go in there and the Levites going to give you whatever their assignments are to help you with. He said, but when you come in here, bring everybody that's connected to you. He said, take heed to yourself that you offer not to burn offerings in every place that you see. You got an offering over here and an offering over there and an offering. He said, take heed that you don't do that. But in the place which the Lord shall choose in one of your tribes, of thy tribe, there you shall offer thy burnt offerings, and there shall you do all that I command thee. God is saying, excuse me. God is saying, whoops. God is saying that I got a particular tribe I'm going to work through among you. And you're going to learn how to do things by the order of that tribe. And that's the tribe I'm going to run my son through. He didn't call it the name today, so what verse was I on? Lord, where was I? Okay. He said, but in that place that the Lord shall choose, I'm going to choose one of your tribes. There you shall offer your burnt offerings, and there you shall do all that I command. He said, well, I'm going to have a particular place and a particular tribe I'm going to work through. Notwithstanding, thou may kill and eat flesh in all thy gates. You will be able to eat in your own gates. Whatsoever your soul lust after. Oh, God said, whatever your soul lust after. What do you mean, God? Whatever your soul desire. You go into a land that's much bigger, and if you decide you want to eat some, let's stay with the word. Thou may kill and eat flesh in all thy gates. Whatsoever your soul lust after, according to the blessing of the Lord thy God, which he hath given you. The unclean and the clean may eat thereof, as the roebuck and of the heart. Talking about those deers. He said, I'm taking you to a land that you're gonna be going hunting, and you're gonna catch a deer, and you can go home and put that deer on the grill, make you some deer soup. Not only can you eat it, but the people that's got some issues with the blood, or maybe the people, because I'm gonna feed the folk that even though they got to go through a process of cleansing, I'm still going to make sure they got something to eat. So you going to eat, and the people that are unclean, the ones that ready to go to worship, and the ones that's got to wait a few days. Y'all going to be able to take that deer and, I'm telling y'all, it's going to be good. All right? Thou may not eat within your gates the tithes. He said, I'm going to tell you this. You go hunt, you can eat that. But anything that I said belong to me, don't eat it. You may not eat within your gates in your own houses the tithes of the corn, the tithes of the wine, the tithes of your oil, the firstling of the herds, your flock of the first one, nor any of the vows that you made, nor the free will offerings or heave offering in your hand. These are not those special offerings. Keep that separated. You know, when you go out there to pick up your pecans and your berries and your honey and your product and the firstling of area, because you're going to give me the first. But the rest of it, enjoy yourself. He said, because what's mine is mine and not yours. But you must eat them before the Lord. He said, the things that belong to me, bring that to me, and those things you don't eat at the house. You bring that before the Lord your God in the place which the Lord your God shall choose. You, your sons, your daughters, your manservant, your maidservant, the Levites that is within your gates. And thou shalt rejoice before the Lord thy God in all that you put your hands unto. You're going to bring all your fruit that you worked so hard all this time, and certain time you give an offering. God is like, now it's just certain things you're going to have freedom to do, and there are certain things you just got to do it the way I said it, because that's called order. He said, take heed to yourself that you forsake not the Levite as long as you live upon earth. You're going to have Levites living around you. And it's a lot of them. They are the ones that help. The Bible said, I call them a gift to the priest. And what you do is you get your tithes that you went to work for, and you pay your tithes to the Levites. Then the Levites take their tithes and pay it to the priest. That's how simple it is. That's how clean it is. That's how we ought to know how God said run that. You go to work, you give 10% of yours to the Levite because they don't work. They don't pay for houses. They don't do nothing. as far as what you do. They're set aside for being the hand, and they handle the tabernacle. They make sure that your church is ran properly. They make sure that whatever the priest needs, they make it convenient so that there will be no lacking in my house. And I got them scattered around. So if you got a problem, you call one of the Levites and say, I need to talk to you about blah, 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 blah. And then they give you what the word says. And then they make sure that the priest knows exactly what's going on. He said, but that's how I want it. You work. You make sure they get what they're supposed to have. The Bible said, take care of them. And then let them take what you've given them, and then they give it to the priest, which is mine. And then I take it and I give it back to him. This thing God planned to set up. How we messed it up, we've asked the Lord to forgive us because we didn't pay no attention to his word. That's not how we do it over here. God said, wait a minute, hold up. If you ain't going to do it like this, then I got two mountains. I got a mountain for those that obey and those that got their own way. You ain't going to like your own way because it look like chaos. And what it look like outside on the news. That's when you put me out, when you make laws. And you said, we're going to have it our way. He said, then you have it your way, but my way, it's got guidelines. You can't be a part of my family just because I don't play. I may let somebody write a play, but I don't play. Now, you could write a play about me and I'll participate, but when it comes down to my righteous judgment, I meant what I said. You can say, well, I am this. He said, Jesus, I don't know you. Only way he said, I'm going to know you is that you follow my instructions. Because in my classroom, when I was teaching, you didn't if Miss So-and-so let you do in and out and throwing paper and fighting in the classroom, we came in here, it felt different. It felt like freedom, even though there was order. You knew where to put things. It was departmentalized. I had compartments. I had drawers. I had, when you walked in, you know on the board, you got to come in doing this. At the end of the day, you should know this because there's a question on that board that says, what is an algebraic equation? And when you walked out that door, you had to know that was my theme, to make sure that you understood. Today, you're going to learn what this is, how to identify an algebraic equation. So that was my job to carry that out. Now, in another classroom, they may have all that on the order, on the wall, because it was mandated by the school system. But it didn't necessarily flow that way. They just might have had the right things on the wall, but there was so much chaos in there until the kid didn't learn anything. But then they have a PTA meeting and tell you, I said a meeting, oh Lord, let me steal the word. I said a meeting where teacher just lied to parents. They said that to well, he got an A in my class. I said, well, I got a question. Now, I got a problem with that. That boy has not been to school. This is December, and we haven't seen this boy since August. How did the boy get an A? How did he miss all those days? That didn't make sense to me. I'm just saying. He said, he said, now we're talking about taking care of the Levite. Take heed that you forsake not the Levite as long as your soul live, as long as you live upon the earth. There is no such thing as I'm a volunteer. I mean, you can say I can volunteer, and that be you doing it. But the structure of God's house was like everybody coming here. I want everybody's, all the Levites. I need all the people that's helping out, all the gifts to the body to make this place function. You need to have something you need to be able to say that I'm supported too. I mean, that's what the word said now. I mean, did I read that right? Yeah, I read that right. He said, you take care of the Levite as long as you live upon the earth. When the Lord thy God shall enlarge your border, and then that keeps us from making people feel like they're dictators and kings. You're not the king of God's house. There's only one king. The whole purpose of the priest was to stay close enough to the word that he could study it long enough to make sure you said exactly what God said. God said he don't need no distractions. So that's why the Levites were his gifts to do the things that he didn't do, to make provision. So when they got the word was the most precious thing that the people needed to hear. And the Levites made sure that they took the tabernacle down and they carried it on their backs. And there's certain thing they couldn't just roll it on the cart. You had to put that thing on your shoulder. And the curtains had to come down, and the staffs that was in the ground had to be careful. These guys were just experts at what they did. And there was thousands of them. Thousands. And God said, I want them to know that if you touch my stuff and you got my authorization, I don't want you going out there doing no man-made job. I need you being here taking care and making sure when these people come in here that I got things in order. All right. And he said, when the Lord your God shall enlarge your border as he has promised you, and you shall say, I will eat flesh because my soul longed to eat flesh. Thou may eat flesh, whatever your soul lusts after. He said, if you want what you want to eat. I'm not going to dictate. Now you at home. You know how to act. You know what to eat. You want to eat you want a steak? You can have a steak. You want some lamb? Grill you some lamb. Want to put a little oil on the lamb? Go ahead. But long as you don't touch the part that you got to give me. He said, because I want you to enjoy yourself. Even as the roebuck and the hart is eaten, so you should eat them, the deers and stuff. We never talked about the deers in this before now. So if you see a deer, y'all want to go hunting. You're not in Egypt. You can go shoot you a deer. Get you one of them bow and arrows and and I love this word. Where we at? Even as the roebuck and the hart is eaten, so you shall eat them. The unclean and the clean shall eat them alike. Because God separated the clean from the unclean people. If you had some type of issue with your skin, or if you had some type of, if a woman's period was on, he said, you still got to eat. He said, so the meat that you have at the house that's not mine, enjoy yourself. You shall not eat it. He said, only be sure that you do not eat the blood. Now you take that meat and you drain that blood out of that thing and let that blood do what? For the blood is the life. The only thing that exchanges your sins and me and you getting along is don't you eat that blood. Now you can eat that meat, but you drain that blood. And you may not eat the life with the flesh. In other words, you can't eat life. Blood represents the thing that gives life. Get the blood out of the meat and enjoy your eating. Thou shalt not eat it. Thou shalt pour it upon the earth as water. Let it drain. You shall not eat it, that it may go well with you and with your children after you, when you shall do that which is right in the sight of the Lord. Everything I'm telling you is an inheritance behind it. If I said don't eat it, it'll bless your house. If I said put the blood in the ground that you drain from, anything that I say will be a blessing not only to you, but you can pass it down throughout your own generation. He said, only the holy things, Moses repeating this now, only the holy things, thou and your vows, the things that you said, thou shalt take and go into the place which the Lord shall choose. He said, the things that I got assigned to bring to me, when we get set up in Canaan, bring it there. And if you shall offer your burnt offerings, the flesh and the blood upon the altar, and thou shalt offer thy burnt offerings, the flesh and the blood upon the altar of the Lord thy God, and the blood of thy sacrifices shall be poured out upon the altar of the Lord thy God, and thou shalt eat the flesh. He said, now take the blood out when y'all bring it. We went through all this in the book of Leviticus. But when you take that blood and you lay it out, you take that animal and you hold it and you cut that thing, because that thing gonna represent, when you put that knife inside that thing, that's for the sins that you did, and that blood gonna drain, and it's gonna go through the process. When I get my portion, then y'all can, I got a thing on my mouth. And thou shalt offer thy burnt offerings and flesh and the blood upon the altar of the Lord thy God, and the blood of the sacrifice shall be poured out upon the altar of the Lord thy God, and thou shalt eat the meat of the flesh of it. And then he said, observe and hear all these words which I command you. Why? That it may go well with you and with your children after you forever, when thou dost these which is good and right in the sight of the Lord your God. If you do what I say do, God says it's going to go well with you, and it's going to go well with your children. When the Lord your God said, cut off the nations from before you where you go to possess them, and you succeed them and dwell in their land. He said, when I do all of this stuff to bring you over into this new land and you start succeeding, he said, take heed. Let me tell you all something. We can't shout out the dancing and going home. You got to hear God's both sides. You got to hear if you do what I say do, and if you don't do what I say do. He said, take heed to yourself that you be not snared by following them after they be destroyed from before you. After you take down all their altars and tear down those big old beautiful churches, those big old stained glass windows, all that fancy stuff, all them big old Hammond organs and all that stuff that these folk got in there that's worshiping the lowercase G-O-D. He said, take heed to yourself that you don't get attracted to themselves. Listen to this, this is some good stuff right here. Take heed to yourself that you be not snared. Don't let them pull a thread. He said, don't do it. Take heed to yourself that you be not snared by following them after they be destroyed from before you. And that you inquire, say, okay, why y'all worship like that? The word said, don't even ask them why they do that. He said, take heed to yourself so you won't be snared by the following them after they have been destroyed from before you. And that you inquire not after their gods, saying, how did these nations serve their gods? How did y'all worship? Even so will I do likewise. Even so will I do likewise. In other words, you said, y'all tell me, y'all drink this right here. I mean, why y'all do that? As if to say, give them some credit or interest that you're doing something that's drawing my attention to you. God said, don't play that. If you got a husband, why are you trying to figure out what that woman doing with hers? If you satisfied, if your house is full of the word, you're full of the Holy Spirit, and you got room to talk about another God? You interested when somebody walk up on your door and say in the morning, knock on the door, you clearly say, get off my land. You don't I just want to hear what you got to say. But for what? He said, thou shalt not do so unto the Lord your God, for every abomination to the Lord, which he hates, have they done unto their gods. He said, let me tell you something about these folk. You don't know what they've done, and I do. I saw what they did. All the sins that's being discovered on earth in 2020, what people are doing. Like my sister told me last night, a man was on a bus. He had cut his girlfriend up and brought her body parts, and the people were checking the luggage. And I'm kind of repeating what she said. And they was like, why did you do this? He said, because I still loved her. God said, these folk that you coming out, and I said destroy, they've done things that I don't even want to talk about. Just go in there and tear down the junk, and I don't want to talk about that. Thou shalt not do so unto the Lord your God, for every abomination to the Lord which he hates, have they done. Everything I hate, he said they did. They were sleeping with anything. They were sleeping with anybody. They had, you know what? I'm knowing that somebody died. And the man, they went up to clean up the man's house behind him. And this guy had a part of his house where he didn't let anybody enter. But when he died, all the evidence of how he lived behind those places that they couldn't get into, that man had all kind of dolls. And I ain't even know people did that, but that he's sleeping with something that looked like a woman. We do some of everything. I kid you not, some of the things that ought to be shamed that we do it, but we do it. And this is not even talking about the world. This is God's people. These are the people that, he said, let me see what it said. Thou shalt not do something to the Lord thy God, for every abomination to the Lord which he hate have they done unto their gods. Thinking some kind of way they got me under this. This is the church doing it. This is people that it wasn't a right church, But God was telling the people that's called by his name, don't you go in there and ask no question about them folk. He said, I don't care if they paid $1 million for a pair of curtains. He said, don't you slide none of that stuff in your pocket. Thou shalt not do to your God, to me, God, for every abomination to the Lord, anything that I hate. God called out those abominations that he hated. He said they were doing it. Trust me. Have they done unto their gods, for even their sons and their daughters they have burnt in the fire to their God. It was a practice that they would take a child or their children, and they thought that if I sacrifice my son or my daughter, then the goodness of God will flow my way. And then what they did, they'll beat the drum, make it so loud when the kids start getting on that hot coal in that furnace, the god of Molech. When they put that baby on that thing or that child on that thing, and the thing starts screaming like that, every time when I read about that, the thing do something to me just to hear it. And the priest would beat the drum so loud that the father and the mothers or the fathers basically, when they heard the sound of that child cry, it drowned it out. God said, I saw every tear. I don't want you to be a part of that. Please no. Utterly destroy that. What things soever I command you, observe. He's I'm almost to say Paul. That Paul and Moses had the same spirit. Excuse me. Whatever I command you, observe and do, pay attention and do it. And he said this last verse. Don't you add or diminish. Not one word from what I just said. That's a word, ladies and gentlemen. I'm getting ready. I have been authorized by my vow. I can go get in chapter 13. Talk to y'all later. Love y'all. Bye.